Today on r/Entitled People, a favorite cousin steals from grandpa, a control freak roommate sets a bedtime rule, and one very nosy neighbor. Let's get into it.
Entitled cousin ruined his life after a family reunion. I'm 31-year-old male, and my cousin Jake is 30 male. He's always considered himself the favorite of all the grandkids because of how our grandparents would always do stuff specifically with him. The real reason why they only spend time with him is because he lives 5 minutes from them, whereas the rest of us live in different states, me being the furthest at a 13-hour car ride. None of us know where this entitlement comes from. Even Jake's parents have called him out on his behavior, but it doesn't change. So, to the story. My grandma passed away 10 years ago, and my grandpa is getting up in age. 92 male, but still amazingly healthy despite it all. My dad, aunts, and uncles were having some discussions with him leading up to the summer family reunion regarding future funeral costs, making sure his will was up to date, insurance, etc. We got to the reunion this past August, and all was going well until Jake started to make a comment about how he's totally getting the house and grandpa's refurbished cars. My grandpa rebuilds old cars with my uncle, Jake's dad. We all ignored him like usual, which seemed to upset him, so he decided to prove it to us and asked Grandpa directly about the will. Grandpa gathered all 9 of the grandkids together and told us that his major assets, the house and cars, would be sold and divided equally among all of us grandkids. Jake lost it because despite years of being told that Grandpa loves all of his grandchildren equally, he still believed he was the favorite and therefore would get most everything from the inheritance. It got even worse when he realized that this included our step-cousin Erin, 25 female, who despite being in the family since she was 12, wasn't even a real grandkid. This devolved into literally the entire family ganging up on Jake for hurling all kinds of insults at him for the things he said. The reason I'm writing about this now is that I just got off the phone with another cousin an hour ago who told me that Jake was arrested last night for trying to steal one of our grandpa's cars. But since he never once actually helped with those things, the idiot tried to steal one that didn't even work yet. From what I've heard, Jake is currently sitting in a jail cell with his parents refusing to bail him out, and my grandpa has a meeting with his attorney on Thursday to remove Jake from the will. Sorry if this was all over the place, but this is the basic gist of the drama currently taking place in my family. Just to clarify, Grandpa had discussed this in advance with all of his kids, my dad, aunts, and uncles, and as everyone is well established in life, they were happy to let the money from the house and car sales go to the grandkids. Everyone will still be getting sentimental items too, of course. None of us know why or where Jake gets his ego from. He's a college graduate, had a great job working for a local mining company. His parents are honestly my favorite aunt and uncle to hang out with. He doesn't do drugs, and he's the kind of guy to nurse a single beer for an hour and call it a night.
Oh, Jake. He really thought being Grandpa's favorite meant he already owned the house and the cars. That kind of confidence should be bottled and sold. Grandpa's been saying for years he loves everyone equally, but Jake heard, "You're the chosen one." And instead of taking that loss quietly, he tried to steal a car that didn't even run yet. Genius move, truly. I love how Grandpa didn't even argue. He just called the lawyer, crossed Jake off the will, and went back to sipping his coffee like nothing happened. Sometimes karma doesn't knock. It just revs the engine and drives straight through your ego. Speaking of wild entitlement, this next one actually came from one of our returning viewers. She's dealt with her fair share of drama before, and now her roommate decided to top it all off with a no cooking after 10 p.m. rule.
I'm not allowed to cook after 10, apparently. I've got another story about my weird roommate. If anyone's curious about the previous story, I'll link it down below. But if you haven't heard about him before, here's a quick rundown. I call him Control Freak, but let's just shorten it to CF. CF was one of the first people I had met when I first moved down to my current town. I had made a post on Facebook in a group for community members of the town saying how nervous I was about moving to a new place. CF sent me a DM saying he'd like to meet up with me and introduce me to some of his friends because I was new in town. I'm on the spectrum and I can be incredibly oblivious to people's intentions. I didn't really think he had more sinister motives in his head at the time. I met up with him and some of his buddies at this karaoke event my town was holding. Ever since that day, he seemed to always be asking me if I wanted to hang out. I did a couple of times. Other times I wasn't able to because I was really busy with work. He always seemed to get insanely upset whenever I said no. Okay, now for some context as to how I even got him as a roommate. About a year and a half after I had first moved into the apartment, I found out that he was moving into the same complex as me. This honestly caught me a bit off guard because the complex I was living in only ever seemed to rent to people in their 20s or early 30s. Well, a few months after he had moved in, the unit I was staying in at the time had to be vacated. The building management moved me to the unit CF was staying in because it was the only one they had available on such short notice, as well as him badgering them about transferring me over to his unit. I didn't really have much of a choice in the matter, unfortunately. Well, I moved in and kept to myself for the most part. I mostly stayed in my room, playing video games when I wasn't at work. I never really noticed his controlling behavior until he found out I got a partner, 35 male. Whenever my partner was over, he left me alone for the most part, but always seemed to be pestering my partner, always badgering him to do this and to do that, yada yada yada. CF tried to convince me that my partner was a bad influence, and while he never actually said for me to break up with my partner, I think he implied it with his actions. Essentially, any behavior I did that he didn't like, he always assumed my partner had something to do with it in some way, shape, or form. He always tried to convince me his ways were the best, like the previous story about the groceries and other such things. Well, now that I have a bit of context out of the way, I think it's time for the story I had for this one. Now, I have a love for cooking, and one of my favorite things to make is tater tot casserole. Such a simple and yummy recipe. One night, I got a case of the munchies and had a craving for the casserole, so I decided to make it. It was pretty late at night, around 10 when I started to make it. I apparently was making too much noise when I was prepping it, and he came out of his room to yell at me that he was trying to sleep. Okay, this frustration was understandable, and I apologized. He let me know he went to bed at 10 every night and told me not to go in the kitchen at that time. So I stopped going into the kitchen at that time. Apparently, he didn't really mean every night, because almost every night after that, I heard him loudly talking on the phone, laughing his butt off for some reason, and had loud music and TV playing. Every time, it was well after 10. Why the heck did he tell me not to go in the kitchen at that time? Honestly, probably because he wanted the space to himself, but that's just a guess. I never really said anything about it, though. I'm the type of person that really does not like conflict. I really should have confronted him for this, but I was a coward and never did.
This viewer really has a magnet for chaotic roommates. Imagine being told you can't cook after 10 p.m., while the guy who made the rule is out there laughing and blasting TV till 1 in the morning. That's not a boundary. That's pure control with a sprinkle of hypocrisy. And the way he basically maneuvered himself into being her roommate? Big red flag. I read she plans to move out once her lease is up. And honestly, I hope everything goes smoothly for her because CF kinda creeps me out. No one deserves to live with that kind of energy. By the way, if you want to hear her first story, check out the link in the description below. It's definitely connected. And finally, from nosy roommates to nosy neighbors, our last story features a woman who mailed a letter asking her new neighbors to close their curtains so she could enjoy her view.
Close your curtains so I don't have a view into your home? Google tells me her window to mine is around 210 feet. We moved into a new build a few months ago, and we just received a mailed letter from a house that is behind ours. Note that there is a wash and a road between us. I shall type it word for word. Dear neighbor, congratulations on your new home. I live across the way from you in Sunflower. Although our homes are not very close to each other, I can see directly into your home from my living room and backyard. I can clearly see you as you walk around your kitchen and even when you get things from your refrigerator. While I am happy for new neighbors, I would prefer not to have a view into your home when I am in my living room and backyard. For your privacy, you may want to consider some blinds or curtains. I hope you enjoy your new home and neighborhood. Your neighbor, Carol. So, let me get this right. We have to close our curtains so you can have yours open? You've been watching us in our house like a creep. Forget that, Carol. My curtains will be open, and I think some naked dancing in the kitchen is required.
Close your curtains? Why don't you close your own? Carol really mailed that with confidence. Like, I can see into your kitchen. Please fix your privacy so I can keep mine. Ma'am, that's not how windows work. That's how voyeurism works. She even tried to make it sound polite. For your privacy. No, Carol, it's for your entertainment. If she can spot their fridge from 210 feet away, she's watching way too close. Honestly, I hope the neighbors did the naked kitchen dance just to give her a show she'll never forget. You know what's even funnier? Carol probably thought she was the reasonable one here. Like, she sat down, typed that letter, printed it, sealed it, mailed it, and at no point did her brain go, maybe I'm the problem. Would you send Carol a mirror, a disco ball, or an invitation to the dance? I'm Team Disco Ball. And that wraps up today's dose of Our Entitled People. Whew, some folks really think the world owes them everything, huh? If you enjoyed the madness, give this video a big thumbs up. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what you would have done. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell, and get ready for more outrageously entitled stories. See you in the next one. Bring popcorn.